Hello, and welcome to this episode of RamTV. I'm your host, Jack Marley. Today we'll be hearing an interview from Brett with some of our varsity golf guys, a public service announcement from our teachers regarding the new grading scale, and finally, as a kickoff to a new series, we're going to add a top 5 list of our favorite places to visit before you die.
So I'm here with some of the varsity guys on the golf team, Eli Bales and Ryan Leith, and I've got some questions for them. So we'll start off with Eli. Eli, why do you like the sport?
Well, I like smashing big drives and sticking in long birdie putts. Those are kind of nice, and shooting low scores and winning as a team is always the nice thing to do.
Ryan?
I like to go out there, have fun, hang out with my friends, shoot low scores, make some nice birdie putts.
All right, guys. So after that question, what is your pregame routine? What do you guys like to do?
When I'm driving out, I always eat my lunch, make sure to do that beforehand. Once we get to the golf course, I get out there and stretch real quick, and then hit about 15 chips, 20 putts, swing my clubs a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we go out there and play.
All right.
I like to go out there, stretch a little bit, and I like to go chip a little bit, putt, and then I like to go to the driving range and hit a few balls.
All right. Last question. What are your goals for this season?
I say our goals for the season is we like to shoot under 140 here on our home course. I think we can all do that. And win all the tournaments we can, and get through the sectional tournament, and then get through the district tournament and get state, and win state there. That'd be our main goal.
Yep. Right.
I just want to go out there, same deal pretty much. Win conference, make it to the state tournament.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Brett, and a special thanks to Ryan and Eli for joining us today. Now we're going to hear a public service announcement from our teachers regarding the new grading scale.
Welcome to the first installment in a series of videos to inform parents and guardians about a change in our grading scale for the upcoming academic year. This is an opportunity to walk you through some frequently asked questions, in addition to hopefully some new learning. I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Evans, Mr. Joyner, Mrs. Johnson, and Mr. Rasmussen. Thank you.
Hello, we're so glad that you have tuned in to watch this video. We hope that it will help you to understand the purpose of our standards reference grading practices and how we are using something called proficiency scales to help teachers, students, and parents understand where each student stands relative to our curriculum outcomes or standards. My name is Mrs. Brenda Evans, and I teach English at the high school. I'm happy to participate in sharing our district's work with you. In Glenwood Community Middle and High Schools, we are making important strides toward implementing standards referenced grading practices. We know that this will have important benefits for our students' learning and success in the courses that they will be taking in grades 6 through 12. You might wonder why we are changing our grading practices. It's because research shows that the most effective grading practices provide students with timely, accurate, and meaningful feedback regarding their growth. Students will then be able to know what they need to do to improve their performance. This also helps teachers to make important decisions about what specific instruction a student or group of students might need next.
We began our journey into standards reference grading several years ago. Our first step was to unpack state and national standards which clearly identify and articulate what our students will know and be able to do as a result of each course. We spell these out in our curriculum documents in the form of outcomes and components. Writing curriculum requires a great deal of content knowledge and teaching expertise. In Glenwood, our middle and high school teachers work in their departments to determine what the powerful and critical learning outcomes for each course. Each teacher shares their curriculum with students, and they are happy to share their curriculum with you too. We began the next step of our standards reference grading work last year. This work involves the development of proficiency scales. The purpose of a proficiency scale is to map out the progression of a learning outcome within each curriculum. Proficiency scales help us describe how a student's understanding of a topic develops over time. They are organized into a 4-level scale that ranges from no knowledge to in-depth knowledge and application of the outcome. Proficiency scales that we are developing for each course will clearly describe what students need to know and be able to do for each of the 4 proficiency levels.
In Glenwood, we teach and we reteach. We assess and we reassess until we are confident that every student has been given the time and the opportunity they need to accomplish our learning outcomes. So how do you and your students know what level they are currently performing at in any given time? They refer to the proficiency scale. For that reason, it's important for everyone to share a common understanding of the levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Level 1 on a proficiency scale generally means that a student's learning is emerging, but they need a high level of teacher support to be able to be successful with that particular curriculum outcome. Level 2 means that a student is developing the basic foundational level knowledge and skills that they will need to build upon. Level 3 is our intended goal for all students at Glenwood Community High School. Level 3 means that a student is proficient and has mastered the content, skills, and applications that are specified in our curriculum. When a student's depth of knowledge is thorough and they can elaborate on core expectations, we refer to that as Level 4 proficiency. In other words, students at Level 4 can self-extend their learning by applying their knowledge and skills in new or deeper ways. Level 4 represents advanced depth of knowledge and application.
We hope that this brief video has provided you with a satisfying overview of our purpose and rationale for using standards reference grading practices and proficiency scales in our middle and high schools. Proficiency scales will have positive benefits on the quality of teaching and learning that happens in each of our classrooms. Our goal is to increase student learning, growth, and retention in every course. We know that changing grading systems can be challenging for students, teachers, parents, and administrators. However, the benefits for our students are worthwhile and worth doing well. If you would like to know more about this topic, please contact your building principal or the director of curriculum. Please watch for additional video postings on our website. We will explain how we'll be using proficiency scales for reporting in PowerSchool and how they convert to letter grades. Stay tuned.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Evans, Mr. Joyner, Mr. Rasmussen, and Mr. Nickerson for joining us today. Now for our top 5 list. And that concludes today's episode of RamTV. Be sure to tune in next time for more news and updates.